Welcome to Hearts of Iron 4, the new installment in Paradox Interactive's series of grand strategy games. I'm going to start a new series on this game. Well, I'm going to start a lot of series on this game, but yeah. This will be the first campaign I do. And in case you don't know, this is a game where you can essentially control any country in the world during the time of World War II between 1936 and 1948 officially, but I'm guessing you can mod the game to essentially go as far as you can go, but it's actually usually only ends in about the 50s era, and it definitely doesn't have the mechanics to get one of the some of the later events of the Cold War right. So I was wanting to do a game as Italy just to start out as a bit of a tutorial for myself, because again, I'm just learning how to play the game. But well, let's just say that I had a bit of technical difficulties, and after a few tries getting just the game to work with my recording software and all that kind of stuff, which is to be expected from a new game, I have decided to actually go and play China, Nationalist China, as my first game, which is not, I'm guessing, something that not a lot of people are going to be playing, but yeah, it's definitely more original than Italy. There's going to be a lot of people playing Italy. I'm going to be playing on regular difficulty, and I'm going to try not to die to Japan. Iron Man mode, because I'm not a pussy. And I'm going to take historical AI focuses off, just to see what kind of crazy shit can happen. Because I do believe that these games are all about getting the crazy what-ifs, and in general, what could happen if countries made a decision or another. Essentially what this is going to do is, national focuses are a system that for the major powers, essentially determines their diplomacy and what they're going to be doing. So there's a lot of different options that they can pick. Essentially, it will determine how the game progresses as a whole. I'm going to explain the system a little bit better later. So this is going to be the first time I'm ever going to play as Nationalist China in a game of Hearts of Iron, so this is going to be interesting. We have German military advisors land optional research time -7%. Which is interesting because, yes, a German military mission was led in China by Alexander von Falkenhausen. So, essentially, to modernize the Chinese army, the Germans sent a lot of advisors to essentially build up relations with China. And we also have communist uprising. There are tensions between the communists and the nationalists, and at present, in all corners of the country, if the communist support goes up too high, the communists will take control of the state. Okay, so this is essentially with the People's Republic of China, because there is a civil war in China going on right now. It's essentially the remnants of the warlord era of the Chinese history, and also the civil war between the CPP, Communist Party of China, Gongchandang, and the Guomindang, which is the Kuomintang, the leading party of Nationalist China. So these are the two competing factions. I'm going to actually play later as a Communist China as well, just to see the differences, but I'm going to start with Nationalist China because they're easier. So yeah, these are my failed Italy Let's Plays. I'm going to make my armament save, and I'm going to jump right into the game. So I'll just make videos that are try to make them about 20-ish minutes long, 30 maybe at maximum, just so that they're nice and short. So this is our country, Nationalist China. As you can see, we have a lot of divisions because we're pretty big. 57 to start off with, but I'm guessing that they're not too high quality to start off with, because you can see a lot of these have these sort of chevrons, red chevrons pointing downwards. This usually means that this division is fairly bare bones, and I'll see about that later. First, let's explain a bit of the game mechanics. As you can see, we have two research slots. Tech tree is, of course, very important in this game to the success of your armies. Infantry equipment 1 is going to be very important for me to research, so I can produce some better weapons for my troops, and also electronic mechanical engineering to gain additional research speed, because with only two tech slots, we're going to need to have as much bonuses to our research as possible to keep up with countries that have more. As, for example, Japan, I believe, starts with 4. We do also have, with our national focuses, as we will see now, the ability to gain more tech slots ourselves. For example, if we go down over here, for infrastructure, we're going to get the extra research slots. So this is essentially what I'll be starting off for. Industrial effort, first off, which will give us, let me read it, will give us 50% bonus research for industry. So essentially, if we go to the research tree, this industry tab, later we're going to have a 50% bonus to research to everything of these, all of these. So we have 14 civilian factories to start off with, which is a fairly acceptable amount. Italy, for example, starts with 20, so we're not that far behind some of the major powers in terms of civilian industry, but we do, of course, want to obtain more. Now, these coastal regions of China are going to be very vulnerable to the Japanese later when they want to navally invade us. So I'm going to try to build them in positions that are not easily overrun, such as over here, Henan, this province. It's behind a river, and it's not on a coast, so I will definitely try to improve that province with a lot of factories. This Anhui province as well, it's got fairly defensible terrain. Jiangxi, Hunan, Hubei, all these provinces in the interior, Sichuan. I'll try to make as many civilian factories in these areas as possible, because with civilian factories you produce more factories and also dockyards, military factories, forts, essentially everything. I'll try to get a few land forts going in Beijing over here to essentially just improve, essentially just improve our defenses against Japan. Wait, 1 second. Yeah, essentially just improve our defenses against Japan in this area, because over here we have a river. I'm not really sure what the name of the river is, and it doesn't really tell me. I'm not really that good at Chinese geography, unfortunately. So yeah, I don't really know the name of the river. So across the river it will be fairly easy for us to defend. But on the other side, we have two pretty huge cities, Beijing and Tianjin. Tianjin being one of the most important ports in China, and Beijing, of course, being one of the most important cities in China. It's interesting enough not the capital right now. Capital right now is Nanjing, which means, well, southern capital, and Beijing is the northern capital. This period of Chinese history is also known as the Nanjing period because the capital was down here instead of up here. And the Japanese will be looking to capture this area beyond the river as quickly as possible, so I want to fortify as much as possible. I'm not really sure how quickly I'm going to be able to build these land forts. Land forts in previous Hearts of Iron games used to be fairly hard to build. I'm just going to put them in queue, but I'm not really expecting them to be built to any sufficient capacity before the Japanese do come knocking on my doorstep. Now, in terms of equipment production, I'm going to build some basic equipment, but not really that much because of the fact that, well, later on we're going to have the much better... we can actually not produce artillery, which is a bit of a problem. Now, maybe grade war tank. At least one factory producing grade war tanks might be useful later. We do have the capacity to build interwar bomber and interwar fighter planes. I will produce some fighters, actually, because of the fact that later on the Japanese will have an air force, of course. So I do want to at least have a little bit of defense against that, but I don't expect myself to be good enough to fight off the Japanese air force. Now, speaking of divisions, a lot of these have this Juntuan template, and the other ones are Sanjiao Jun. I'm guessing that one of these is more of a militia division. Edit. Yes, these are really bad divisions. They've only got 4 battalions of infantry in it, and these Sanjiao have 6, so they're much better in terms of having actually people in them. Now, how am I on equipment? I'm actually lacking equipment, so I'm going to be looking to produce equipment as much as possible to essentially get myself... I also want to produce military factories as quickly as possible. Now, this will mean reducing the amount of civilian factories that I'm building in certain states, and then switching those over to military factories. And I'll keep the military factories above in priority compared to, and I'm just failing. Okay, I'm going to not want them to be the highest priority though, so I'll get the, oh god damn it, I'll get the civilian factories up higher. Because I want the civilian factories to finish first, so that then I have more production capacity to build the other ones. Looks like we're also lacking resources, oil, aluminum, and rubber. Now, I don't really... Actually, the way to fix that is to not produce fighters. Can I? Just, yeah, and that. Now, keep all my things producing infantry equipment, basic infantry equipment. Looks like we also have a couple of dockyards. How many? I can't really see. Only one, unfortunately. We're just producing the higher rung class light cruisers. I will finish this one ship, but then later I will produce convoys. I don't really expect the Navy game to ever go in our favor, considering the Japanese Navy is going to be the, well, pretty much best Navy around until the Americans come knocking, so I would probably take a lot of losses in terms of that. Now, other than that, it doesn't really seem like we have much to be doing. I do want to probably attempt to make... Right now, as you can see, the Kuomintang party has 100% support. I do want to probably at least get some democratic support later on. Or just in general, in some way, get some kind of support to ally myself to the United States, because I do want to be allied to them later. Not really sure how easy it is going to be to gain their support, but I definitely want to have that to help out against the... what? I can actually return all the territory to the People's Republic of China, because I'm guessing we both have claims on the territory, and we can also liberate Tibet, but who wants to, well, liberate this province of Tibet, but who wants to do that? I'll actually probably try to take over Tibet later, because, well, I'm Chinese and I'm evil. Can I even do a war goal against them right now? It doesn't look like it. We cannot puppet countries, so right now we're still kind of neutral, so we're going to see about that. We also have the Qibingjun cavalry divisions. They've only got 4 cavalry battalions, though. I'm going to just put 1 infantry division in training, just as a placeholder a little bit. I do definitely want to have my equipment production to go mostly, again, to reinforce my troops and then make them decent. So I do want to set up my fronts at this point. Now, not really sure if the Guanxi clique over here, down here, will be causing trouble against me. So I'll just send a few units down here, because I do know that in other Hearts of Iron games, the Guanxi clique down here do like to cause a bit of trouble against Nationalist China. So I'll assign these divisions to the front line against them, and I'll also get these divisions. How do I add them to this army? Select half of the current divisions. Strategic deployment is off. Okay, right click, and they will make a front line against the Guanxi clique. Do we have commanders? Yes, we do have 4 commanders. We have 1 Yao Wu, Tai An Yan, or whatever, Sui Yue, and 2 Yu Min. So he's pretty good, actually. He's a level 4 field marshal with defensive doctrine. So I'm going to want to have him in charge against the Japanese up here. Now, there's also a little bit of a problem over here with Shanxi, this state over here. This guy, leader is Yan Xishan, and yeah, this state is nominally allied to us. As you can see, their flag is essentially our flag with the word Shanxi written in Chinese over here. But they don't really, while they do nominally hold allegiance to our government, they don't really care. So yeah, they're a bit of a rogue warlord. This is going to be a big problem for us if the what? No, not naval invasion order. Frontline. Yes, so I want these 17 divisions that I've selected to go in the front line against the Japanese. We also have 15 divisions in the Beijing area, or the Nanjing area. I'm going to want to send them up north with the other divisions. Since this guy is a field marshal, there's 2 Yumin. He doesn't have any penalties for the number of troops he can have. So I will send all available units over there. I do also want to see, because I want to see, want to get some of these lower quality divisions. What are these? Oh, because these ones are in the Southern Army. Yeah, no, I want to keep these guys in. How do I remove them? Like that. Yeah, I don't want to unassign them. I want to keep a few the troops as coastal divisions to protect myself against the Japanese naval invasions, because they will likely send in. Now, this is actually a good division, so I want them assigned over here at the front. And yeah, I just want to grab some lower quality troops, these ones with the free minus chevrons, and use them as coast guards, essentially, against Japanese invasions. Now, this Ningbo port is already garrisoned, so I'm going to send them to Huzhou up here, and I'm going to assign these guys to the upper force. Then there is these 2 troops, who are these. This Lu Jianshi are pretty shit, so I'm going to keep them there. And the Shanghai Jinbei also kind of shit, so I'll keep them there. What is this province? Just an air base, so no real need to defend it. Because essentially, you only want to be defending in terms of... they can land everywhere in your coastline, but you only want, or rather only need to defend ports. Because once the enemy acquires ports, I'm actually going to... this Qingdao, Jinbei, I'm going to keep them outside of the army. Because once they acquire ports, they can actually supply their troops. And if they don't want to starve out, essentially, once they send their guys in, they will have to capture one of your ports and use that as a forward base. Now, why? I don't believe I have anyone here in Xiamen, but this 2 Fujian Jinbei definitely will help out down here. And also, there's a lot of divisions over here near Beijing that are sort of a reserve. Or near Nanjing, I keep confusing myself. I'm not really sure what to really do with this, because I'm going to keep some of the lower quality troops over here. For example, these 5 divisions. Where's the 6th one? I see 1. This one, patience. Okay, no. I'm going to... No. I'm going to deselect the units that I have assigned, and I'm going to keep them as a reserve in case any Japanese naval landings appear, and I'm going to send them after. And keep having people telling me things on Steam. Okay. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to have these extra divisions down here in the interior. I'm going to make a new army out of them. I actually have 4 field marshals and no generals, which is interesting. Now we have 2 skill-free field marshals with offensive doctrine, and I'm going to pick this Tai An Lan because it's the only one that I can pronounce. The other one I definitely do not have any idea what the pronunciation is. And I'm going to keep them on the border with Communist China over here, People's Republic. I'm just going to keep them on the border there in case they want to do anything, but I doubt that there will be that much conflict over there, at least requiring too much of my overseeing. Doesn't look like I need to do anything else. Research is set up, everything else is done, and yeah, I do believe I can start. So, welcome to Hearts of Iron 4. I hope you enjoy your stay. Now, as you can see, my troops are kind of automatically going... I keep having people just tell me things. Oh my god. So it looks like we also have 2 air wings. Now, I'll put them in reserve because I essentially want them to assign to Beijing. Can I see my reserves anywhere? This is something that's kind of annoying me about Hearts of Iron 4 is the fact that, okay, I need to look over here. So there's 70 fighters and 15 bombers in reserve. So I'm going to increase my air wing over here in Beijing to 100 because that's where they will be needed. And I will also create a new air wing with my interwar bombers. So that's, I doubt that my air force will be too useful against the Japanese, but they cannot hurt. And other than that, why are these troops standing here? I'm pretty sure I assigned you all. I'll just reiterate the command just in case you haven't. Oh yeah, it's because it was only the first ones that I assigned. No, I don't want to do that. I want to assign my troops. There we go. And then I want to grab all my other troops that are... Who are you guys? Okay, I'll keep you in Nanjing. I guess these guys are not assigned. And I'll use them as my coastal defense force. Now, what are these? Because they have no orders, and I'm not really sure why they don't have orders, because I told them to assign over here. And so my army down here doesn't have a commander. I'll put Sui Hue, or whatever the fuck your name is supposed to be, as the commander. And then I'll grab the other troops. And then I've also got these two infantry divisions. These ones are actually fairly good. They are regulars and they are decent templates. So I'll put them in my northern front against the Japanese. I also have a navy. I have no commanders. The first commander is free, and so Zhang Ye, you're the commander now. I mean, these are only 4 light cruisers and 2 destroyers. Actually 5 light cruisers and 2 destroyers, which won't really do anything against the Japanese navy. So I'll just keep them there, and this is another division. So I can finally reorganize my troops. What are 8 divisions doing here? Well, I'll send a few around. I'll also keep 1 more over here. And a couple more down here. Oh, there's also another port over here. Oh, these guys were going up there. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. They were just passing through. I'm really sorry about the confusion in the beginning. I'm just going to be... What are you doing? So, you make sense. What are you? Who are... Oh, you're here. Okay. Yeah, the interface can be a little funky. It is a Hearts of Iron game, after all. Not exactly the most... And who are you assigned to? You're not assigned to any... Oh, that's why! Because I didn't want to send 4 divisions over here. Doesn't look like I need them elsewhere though. Over here will definitely be a place where I need extra troops. So let's assign them to another army, which will use up my last commander. And there's no one in Shanghai for some reason. They will be my 14 extra divisions. He's got defensive doctrine, which means that my troops will entrench more. And so I want a couple of these divisions to fuck off from here. These 2, and send them down to Shanghai, because I don't want that province to be ungarrisoned. So, preparing the attack against the communists. After the long retreat of the Communist Party of China's Red Army, they have managed to regroup and establish themselves in Shaanxi. Their continued effort to turn the rural population against us and seek support from the Soviet Union suggests that they might grow more powerful if left on their own devices. However, many of the surrounding warlords, despite supporting our government, are unwilling or unable to make the necessary sacrifices for an effective attack. It's currently unclear whether the Red Army is still recuperating or ready to face us in battle, but time is not on our side. We must strengthen our political position, and we need to strike against the communists. So we have three options: strong-arm the local warlords into the offensive. It will have a 70% chance of victory. If the PRC chooses to confront the attack, we have 70% chance of winning, which will reduce our manpower and increase our political power by a lot, or a 30% chance of losing 50,000 manpower, so 50,000 men. But of course we have like 5 million men already, so we don't really care about that. And we get minus 100 political power, which does hurt more. Or we could have the communists retreat if the PRC chooses to retreat, which will give us political power. Recruit local outlaws to fight for us. Okay, that's kind of underhanded. I guess we're the nationalist government anyway. 50% chance of we win, and 50% chance of we lose, which is a lot less, I guess, punishing if we lose. We only lose 50 political power instead of 100. We rely on local volunteers to oppose the communists. So these are essentially, I'm guessing, gambles of like... Okay, so the local volunteers have a really high chance of losing, but even if they lose, we don't really care because it's only 500 guys who go out there and get slaughtered, and we only lose 25 political power. Whereas if we win, we don't really gain that much. I'm just going to go for the standard option: strong-arm the local warlords into the offensive. We'll see. Victory against the communists. Okay, so we got lucky. Our commitment to routing the Red Army has been successful, at least for now. Despite gaining information about the attack, the communists decided to confront our forces and lost. They have now been forced to withdraw further, and many of the locals have grown skeptical of their ability to deliver on their promises of overthrowing our government, and rightly so. So the People's Republic will get the event defeat against the Kuomintang. So essentially, looks like this is the way they made the Chinese Civil War play out, which is kind of fun, I guess, a little bit of a mini game. So we have our first decision of what to use our political power for. Now we can essentially just make a new improvement to our laws, which could bring us to different kinds of conscriptions and the like. We don't really have a need of increasing our conscription right now, though, because we have 4.70 million active manpower. So we don't really need at all that kind of stuff. What could be interesting is to do a turn away from civilian economy into a war economy, which will increase our production capacity of military stuff. But we can't really do that because of our ruling party and the likes. We could also hire a political advisor, for example, a silent workhorse, to increase our political power gain, a captain of industry to increase our civilian factory production speed, which might actually what we go for. Or we could get a democratic reformer or a fascist demagogue to increase the support of democratic or fascist parties, or a compassionate gentleman to increase the monthly opinion, I'm guessing, of the government. Or we could make... we could hire a company to increase our research capacity in some way. For example, industrial research time, or military things. For example, this Bo Yibo would gain us more army experience daily and land doctrine research time reduction, which will be very useful later on, and I will go for that later. But right now, we'll just, I believe, go for the captain of industry, Deng Xiaoping. Okay, I don't really know why I can... In case you don't know, this guy, I'm guessing this is the guy, was later the president of the People's Republic of China, or rather the chairman of the People's Republic of China, from in like the 80s. Okay, I'm not really sure why I can recruit them as a nationalist. I'm guessing because he kind of switched sides later. Yeah, this Chinese Civil War is really weird. So as you can see, we can also see if they have done anything. But right now, since I'm guessing the fact that they have lost their little mini game, I'm guessing they won't really have that much political power to spare to hire anything. So right now, our main concern is going to be the People's Republic. We do have clashes with communist guerrillas. With both us and the Chinese Red Army barely having recovered from our previous offensives, our middle troop presence close to the border has reignited the conflict. In addition to the local warlords and militias, we have considered moving in more troops from elsewhere. Although this may not give us the opportunity to crush the communist menace once and for all, it will be an important ideological victory to show that they will not be allowed to expand further. We must draw the line now. Start a border war in Sichuan. Hubei. Start a border war in Hubei. Okay, so we will start a border war. I'm not really sure what that is supposed to be, but I will do that. Oh, defeat in Hubei. Inspire efforts to push show that the communists will not be able to expand their influence outside of where they have currently taken refuge. We could not afford to commit enough resources to win the conflict along the Hubei border. Sporadic conflicts with communist militias slowly turned out more in their favor, which in the end made the campaign a failure. Troubling. So we lose 100 political power in the People's Republic of China, and we also lose national unity, which is not that good. So I'm not really sure how this sort of can I see the region map mode? I'll just look at this and then end this video and come back later. But not really sure how this works with the. So this is Hubei. I'm really not sure how it works. So I'm guessing it calculates something based upon the strength of the divisions in this province, and then just looks at that and just, yeah, I'm guessing we kind of got unlucky, but again, yeah, this is pretty cool of a system. So yes, I will end the episode for now, and I will upload the next video tomorrow, but I will continue playing right now after I'm done with dinner. So even though it will be, even though it will be coming out tomorrow, it's essentially me will be continuing to play. So I hope you'll enjoy this series, and I'll keep coming out with more Hearts of Iron. I'll just make more series along with this one. And yeah, I hope you'll enjoy it as much as I will. So I'll see you soon.